Hey, happy Monday. Welcome to the show. And we are going to definitely get rolling here. But first, before we do, did you guys hear about the IV bag shortage? Yeah, I heard from the National Medical Association that due to the IV fluid shortage, actually, that hospitals across the nation are going to be collecting liberal tears. They just ask that they use a sterile cup. Nah, they don't have those either. All right, here we go.
Break 'em on. This is America First Radio. Patriots, get your ears on because we're blowing the speakers out.
Lefty G. It is time for the Lefty G Show. The only show to get you right. Get ready to get right with Lefty. Your voice taking you down Freedom Road. Now, here's your host, Lefty G.
Let's hit the fucking road!
All right, happy Monday. Here we are. We're about 8 days from the election, and it's getting crazy out there. Hence the title. You know, we're in the death throes. We're watching the liberals in their death throes for what they know is their impending end. As long as we keep things on the above, up and up. And I don't know if you guys heard about this yet. Before we get into the main topic, but I know that there's been these images going around for quite a while about this ballot in these ballot boxes in two states yet to be identified. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I do a video clip of it that have been set on fire, destroying hundreds of ballots. And so I think here we go again. You know, we're gonna get into this. This is all part of the liberals. You know, and they know that their end is here. And I guess, one way or the other, you can't expect them to behave on the way out, right? So it's only going to get worse from here, and we got to be vigilant. But if you know that this is diligent, I mean, this is where as I said in previous shows, don't use these ballot boxes. We shouldn't be using these things anyways. I mean, they're targets, just like they were vandalized the last time, just like they went missing the last time in the 2020 election. So I think we have to be cognizant about what happened before. And so here, check this out. This is a video of one of the ballot box that's up here in this picture here, actually on fire. See the guy? He's breaking out all of those votes right there. Apparently, they were trying to get the ballots out that were on fire. And so, yeah, I mean, there we have it. I mean, the Libby Lou-Who's are going to stop at nothing. And, what's funny is, it's the same old rhetoric that's happening. Of course, they don't have much that they can say about Donald Trump right now. I mean, he's I guess they can talk about his immigration policy a little bit, and I'll talk on that here in a minute. But they also want to, reference always him being a fascist or a Nazi. And it's beginning to get a little, well, not beginning. It's very much old hat, old rhetoric. And what's funny is I remember hearing a phrase recently where it said in Time magazine in 1936 where Hitler was the man of the year. And look this up, guys. This is a real thing. Time magazine in 1936 named Adolf Hitler man of the year. I think he was the first man of the year for that. So, yeah. But I think the phrase was not every socialist was a Nazi, but every single Nazi was a socialist. And so, I think that's... that the Democrats, as I said last week or last Friday on the show, they just don't like competition. They want to be their own. But so this is what they are. But let me take a step back, because I think when I look at the rally that Trump had in New York City last night, I mean, look at some of the lineup that was there. There was Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, obviously J.D. Vance was going to be there, Donald Trump Jr., Robert Kennedy, Hulk Hogan. And we had Mike Johnson, the speaker, Mike Johnson, among those who all took the stage for the former president, for Donald Trump, soon to be president again. And yeah, Melania Trump made an extremely rare campaign appearance, delivering very brief but very elegant remarks that introduced her husband. And when you look at that lineup, and Tulsi Gabbard, that's another one. And I'm telling you, folks, watch out for Tulsi Gabbard in the next, I'm going to say 4 to 8 years. This woman, I really firmly believe, has everything it takes to be the next president of the United States, as well as the first woman president of the United States. There, I said it. And I don't care that she used to be a Democrat. So was Ronald Reagan. So was Donald Trump, for that matter. And those two were arguably at least the best presidents I had in my lifetime. And I like what Tulsi Gabbard is about. She understands that the Liberal Party, the Democrats, are not anything that she wants to be associated with. She's a veteran. She was an Army medic, and I believe she was a major in the United States Army. So, and she was, she understands government. She was there. She was a congresswoman. So I think that that watch out for her. But yeah, so I mean, quite a lineup of all different really groups of people. I mean, the other one is that impresses me is that Donald Trump was actually able to pull a Kennedy from the left to at least the center, and I think that says a lot about Robert Kennedy right there. I think it really does. And so this is where I said, listen to the rhetoric that was happening today, and I listened to it while I was preparing for the show. I listened to, MSNBC, all the typical tropes, right? And the left is in the final death throes of their twilight before the election in 8 or so days. And particularly after Trump's Madison Square Garden rally. The liberal legacy media right now is livid. They're absolutely livid. If you listen to some of the stuff that they were saying today, it blows my mind. Because, they want to cast this whole event as, they were hoping, I should say, that it was going to be low energy and very small. And to their dismay, not only did Trump sell out the venue, the entire Madison Square Garden venue, but there were 3 times as many folks on the outside waiting to get in, people that couldn't get in. And the rough estimate right now is over 100,000 people. And that's a really, really big rally, and a lot bigger than anything else that Harris is able to pull off. So, I think the liberals, they can't deny that. You literally can't deny that. And you would think that in a place like New York that is overloaded with liberals, man, she could do better, meaning Harris, she could do better. But there isn't a way in hell she could have gotten 100,000 extra people to camp out outside of her rally. It wouldn't happen. And, the left can't attack Trump on his energy or enthusiasm or lack of crowd size. So what does the leftoid media attack him on? Well, the typical rhetoric, right? They're outside of calling him a racist. They're going to attack him on the speaker. I can't think of the guy's name right now, but this guy got up there and talked about Puerto Rico is a floating pile of garbage, which is clearly a reference, I'd like to add, to the corruption and function of Puerto Rico's government, not the people or the culture of the culture of Puerto Rico. But the left is trying to pass it off as a racist comment. Again, like always, the left taking things out of context to kind of fit their own narrative. But, as I've always said before, when it comes to the left, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. And this is getting only, as we've seen before, from the left. I'm sure, that their rhetoric right now, and I've heard it, is the guy's a Nazi. He's very Hitler-esque. He's very Hitler-esque, and that's all they really can hang their hat on. They can keep beating back the immigration piece, but quite frankly, I think they themselves know that we're in a lot of trouble with the open border policies. But something, we're not going to. This isn't the end of this kind of rhetoric from the left. Everyone's going to have to be a fascist. Everyone's going to have to be a racist, and of course, that's the smoke and mirrors that they right now are only able to hang onto Donald Trump, and so. And they made some other mentions today that were kind of ridiculous about how Trump is engaging in dangerous, demagoguery and all this other kinds of crap and all these fucking words. And they were attempting to state that Trump is trying to recreate the Madison Square Nazi rally from the 1930s, which is interesting because in 1939, if you want to look at this, and I believe this is accurate. I'm about 99% sure this is accurate. The largest Nazi rally ever held was here in the United States. Yeah, go figure that. And what I find amazing right now, and I'm wondering if there is any motion to this, but this was a comment that just came in. New York may go red for the first time in 40 years, And I got to be honest with you, I would love to see it. And, and in reality, the liberals have nothing to attack Trump on. That's, I think, what's pissing them off the most. They have nothing. They're grasping at ghosts. And not even in really in the speeches given, especially the last part where Trump for the talked about party cooperations amongst both parties and civic responsibility that each other has, meaning the Republicans and the Democrats. And, you haven't heard a Democrat, anyone from the squad, anyone from, Harris's camp, no one's spoken like that. And, I don't even think the liberal media knows what the fuck to do with that right now. And I think that's what's making them so crazy. And liberals in general outside of the media. But my point is, all of this so-called rhetoric and all these speeches and everything we heard last night and the ending by Trump talking about, working together and crossing the aisle, none of that sounds very Hitler-esque to me. I don't know. I don't think Hitler ever made any comments like that. So I think that, again, they're just using the same old trope that, if he doesn't toe the line their way, then he must be a racist, and I think the only things the liberals can dredge up is, again, I'll say this before, is the immigration issue, which Trump is winning on anyways. Trump knows that he has the upper hand on all those issues. I mean, we currently have, I'm going to put this not in my old-fashioned way, but in my way that's maybe a little more palatable for some of the pink hairs that are out there. The people that always, talk about mental health issues. The fact is we have limitless illegal immigration, crime, Venezuelan street gangs, and terrorists in this fucking country. Not to mention a derelict federal government not willing to address the issue, including a border czar currently running for president. And to boot, Harris claims she's going to continue doing exactly what she's been part of in the Biden administration if she becomes president. Yeah, that selling point went over like a lead fucking balloon, I'm sure. And I imagine that's why Trump jumped a couple of points almost immediately after she made that comment. So I think the writing is on the wall. I think the liberals can read it clearly, and that's why we're seeing these death throes, these spastic death throes, and that's why they're now resorting to criminal activity like lighting ballot boxes on fire. Which again, we should not be using ballot boxes. Please, folks, if you guys are out there participating in early voting or about to participate in early voting, do not, under any circumstances, use a fucking ballot box. Don't do it. So then the choice is, if you look at what we have right now with Kamala versus Trump, I'm going to boil this back here a little bit. So then the choice is her and the liberal cabal of lunatics or the mean tweeter, which, hurts the feelings of soy boys and chicks with dicks. I don't know. Yeah, but at least Trump doesn't stand for children being trafficked or slaughtered in wholesale numbers. And I think it's very interesting, the moral standards of the liberal lunatics. And so, I think the only thing the Libby Lou-Who's have to talk about is that other people, that these other people had to say about Puerto Rico, that Puerto Rico is a trash dump or whatever the guy said. And yeah, Puerto Rican government is legendary for its corruption. And I think that's what the guy meant. As a matter of fact, I know that's what the guy meant. And for the record, Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory and I want to say this very carefully, but in no way do I advocate for them to become a state until this entire immigration matter is completely cleaned up, period. I mean, anyone else remember when Trump, he didn't send aid to Puerto Rico? Remember that whole thing during his presidency? He claimed he sent the aid, but the Puerto Ricans said they never got it. And after that whole hurricane they had, only to find out that all the aid in a warehouse was pretty much stolen, after the governor was removed. Remember that whole thing? Yeah. Pepperidge Farm remembers. I know all that. But, going back to the whole immigration thing, I mean, really, I think what Trump needs to do, and I said this on one of my past shows here, is, and what I would do if I was president, as a matter of fact, is put a 3-year moratorium on all immigration into the country. Doesn't matter what your status is. And I would take those 3 years and I would literally move everybody the fuck out of the country that's not supposed to be here. And I would use merciless impunity if I had to. And that's the bottom line. I mean, we have hardened criminals over here now. We have paramilitary organizations in our cities actively doing criminal paramilitary things against our own citizenry, taking over apartment complexes and blocking off streets and harming our own citizens. And yet we don't do anything. We do nothing. And I think it's again, this is what happens when you elect a bunch of lunatics. You know, the inmates run the asylum eventually, and this is what the liberals are. And you know, I mean it. I think we need to finish the border wall. I think, you know, and if that doesn't work, well, I'm serious. Lay a fucking minefield. Put up a couple of signs and, you know, maybe, you know, and I'll tell you what, put up as many signs that there's a minefield that there is on voter registration cards. Why don't we do that? Let's have, you know, 20, 30 fucking languages that, you know, you're going to get blown up. If you, and I say lay the fucking minefield. Let's do it. Something has to be done. You know, plus, and going back to Puerto Rico, and I want to touch on that too, because I know there's going to be some people out there that are going to be bothered that I said it shouldn't become a state because it's an American territory. But as far as Puerto Rico becoming a state, you know, a lot of people would say it would give, you know, and this is kind of true, that it would give the Dems 2 senators. Okay, fine. So we would need to split California or Texas into 2 states to kind of even it all out. And that, my friends, in itself is the headache of why Puerto Rico will never be a fucking state. So, I mean, and again, we shouldn't even be addressing that until we have the entire border and everything taken care of. But again, I think a 3-year moratorium on all immigration into this country is exactly what we need. But hey, I'm just a guy that pays taxes. But back to the why the liberals are in their death throes right now, you know, having seizures all over the place, is really the size and energy of the Trump rally was extremely high. And so the problem for the legacy media, the plausibility, I should say, of the situation to the American people, of which they're going to have to explain, is how can he pull in so many people in a massively blue city and state, like New York City, like New York State? You know, so their only choice is to report on their old tactics of, you know, ragging on him for his immigration policies and calling him a Nazi and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny, if you were to go back and you were to take word for word, and I challenge anybody to do this, take word for word of what Donald Trump said about the immigration policies and protecting our borders, and then go back and take the same thing from Slick Willie Clinton, from Bill Clinton, do it right now. And then do the same thing with Barack Obama, do it right now. You'd be hard-pressed to find anything different between any one of those three men, what they said. And, you know, it's funny, 2 of them are Democrats. And one of them, obviously, a Republican, being Trump. But if you were to superimpose anything that Barack Obama or Bill Clinton said and put Trump's name on it, he'd be vilified. But yet, you know, but Bill Clinton and Barack Obama can say almost the exact same words, or I should say vice versa. Trump can say almost the exact same wording and phrasing about our border protection as those 2 presidents did. And you know what? The liberal media all of a sudden gains a big fucking sense of amnesia, and nobody knows what anyone's talking about anymore. So I think, and you know, and honestly, I think overall, I think Clinton, in comparison to Obama, did a much better job with protecting our borders. You know, he didn't open up the floodgates and let every single, you know, hummus choker in here to build fucking mosques. So that's going to be a problem later on. We can discuss that here in a little while, but different show. But yeah, liberals are hysterical in their anger over this man's success, over Trump's success. And, you know, Elon Musk last night said if Trump is elected, he's going to cut $2 trillion of waste from the government in his new position in the administration, meaning that's what Elon Trump said he was going to do. And look what he did by cutting out 2/3 of Twitter and reforming it into X, and it's now more profitable and better platform, quite frankly. So I think people are taking old Elon and Donald Trump pretty fucking seriously, especially the government. And it's time someone cuts that bloat. But I'm sure, I'm going to say this right now, I'm sure that kind of talk makes a lot of people in the government very scared, and who knows what they're likely to do. I mean, they've already tried it 3 times now. And so we got to make sure we also protect this man. And that's what's happening right now. You know, I mean, just like in like anything, you know, you can't expect the liberals to definitely, I mean, they didn't behave while they were in office. Now you definitely can take it to the bank that they're not going to behave on the way out. So everyone has to be ready and just be aware of everything and pay attention, and don't use those ballot boxes. Get down to your local voting place, wherever that is, early voting place, and do it there. You know, but don't do it where your vote can be compromised. I think about these ballot boxes. You know, that's hundreds of votes that are never going to be counted. Now, sure, some of them might have been for Harris, some of them, but I'm sure, understanding demographics and, and political, allegiances in certain areas of a certain city or town or whatever isn't a loss on some of these pollsters who maybe lean a certain way, who probably gave information to somebody else, who probably went out and got lighter fluid in a match. And so I think this is where we need to not only make sure our vote makes it, but protect your vote. And as I've said it before on past shows, don't use those voting boxes. But yeah, I really, I feel great about where we're at right now. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think right now, Donald Trump doesn't have to beat Kamala Harris. He has to beat voter fraud. He has to beat the criminality that is rampant on the left. And don't let any of that rhetoric get to you. I mean, okay, they're going to call him a racist. They're going to call you and I a fascist and all that other bullshit. But all of it is completely false. So that's it, guys. That's everything. Make sure you get out there, and if you haven't already early voted, go out there and do that, and let's get these fuckers out of here. So with that said, that's everything I've got. So please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and hit the bell button to continue being part of the Lefty G experience. And remember, guys, peace through strength. All right, guys, have a good